Audio
They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President.
Well, hello, one and all. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, where we talk about all things hitting the fan. And we're talking big piles of excrement. And if, wow, just wow. Did any of you ever expect to see this happening? Expect to hear what we've been hearing? Unbelievable craziness over the weekend. Trump hasn't doubled down. He hasn't tripled down. He's... I don't even know. Are we on 5 or 6? Right? He's septupled. He's octupled down on the stupidity. In any event, here we are. And it is Sunday Night Live, and I need a scotch in a big kind of way. We're going to start with Chin Music, who will join us in progress. He'll jip later, but he did a $52.23 super chat donation. Here is the Glenn Levitt. Here is the shot glass. And I tell you what, welcome back, folks. It has hit the fan. It is going to get even weirder. You stand by, hide and watch. Whew, I needed that right there. Right there. We'll keep an eye out for Chin Music showing up. He's got a busy Sunday. But let's move on to Darcy T. Let's do that. And she says, good evening, John. Don't have any specific questions. Just some support for the spam fund. Salud. Okay, that would be a super chat from Darcy T. A $50 PayPal super chat. Now, here's the deal. I've decided that the Democrat Party, of course, has lost. The Libertarian Party doesn't know its ass from the hole in the ground. The Republican Party, well, that's Democrat light. The American Party by Elon Musk, I don't think so, because they're anti-Second Amendment and they're full-on bring in immigrants and don't let Americans have good-paying jobs. So that leaves us with the Prepared Mind Party. And I think everyone can agree on this party, because the party platform is we don't support abortion. We don't support theft. We don't support illegals. We don't support assault. We don't support murder. We don't support extortion, bribery, theft, money laundering, or pedophilia. We don't support any of that. I don't think any of the other parties can say that. Yeah, we do support the Constitution in its original form, as written, with nothing else needed to make it work. That's the Prepared Mind Party. And we just got 1,000 votes, and it'll never be more. Anyways, what a complete mess. Today is Sunday Night Live, folks. I sure hope you've got, let's see, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Right? You need all those things. Something crazy is going to happen. A lot of people are very concerned. One of the things I'm hearing as I peruse social media is there is so much going wrong in the world right now that the people that are guilty of the wrong, they're going to need a real false flag, a real violent one, a 9/11 type false flag, something like that. I wonder if all of the Trump, I don't care about pedophilia, I don't care about all the clients that have hurt children, I wonder if that is the false flag. Let me explain. Normally, we see a false flag to get rid of guns. Parkland school shooting, Sandy Hook school shooting, Aurora, Illinois, right? The Columbine, those kind of events that occur that are either used or were created and then used to get rid of guns, right? And then we had other false flags like 9/11, which interestingly, the Pentagon missile plane, that's right, the missile plane that hit there at the Pentagon took out the section of the Pentagon where they lost $2.5 trillion in defense spending. And then, well, the Twin Towers, those coming down, and then Building 7, which was not hit by a plane, but a 47-story skyscraper in New York City just fell to the ground for no particular fucking reason. But the reason seemed to turn out, well, it gave the world the excuse to go into Iraq and cause problems. And, other false flags, I don't know, like Oklahoma City bombing. Hillary was just about to get in big trouble for Whitewater, but unfortunately, the federal building in Oklahoma City that was bombed collapsed, destroying all the evidence. Once again. But in this case, I think this false flag, if it is, this is just a theory. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a theory. And we'll talk more about conspiracy theories and Cash Patel if you guys want to talk about that in a minute. But my conspiracy thought here, the theory is that in order to demoralize America, something like this needed to happen, where the one thing that the good America wanted to happen is being taken away. Right? The move towards an honest government, a decent government, draining the swamp, if you will. All of a sudden, it's like the swamp is backed up and filled up with more shit. Like all of a sudden, the false flag is to take your hope away. Right? Because, hey, I had hope. We all had hope. We all hoped. Now, there's a difference between having some hope and putting all of your faith and desire and will to live into that hope and then have it shattered. But I think a lot of people were there. So many people there, in fact, they can't even acknowledge, accept, and look at the fact that the president of the United States is excusing a criminal cartel that kidnaps, transports children to foreign jurisdictions and then invites all of their buddies to come rape them. That is the cartel that we're after, the pedophile cartel. And then someone films it. And the Secret Service agencies in Israel, Mossad, the CIA, and MI6, they use these videos, photos, to blackmail and control the people that they brought there, right? So it's a big club. And I don't want to be in it, and nobody else does either, but they're in it. They're in it now, aren't they? Good golly, folks. So I think that is a type of false flag, taking everyone's hope and just trashing it. Why would they need to do that? Why? I don't know. See, the left already did something like that, right? The Democrats, they have had no problem. They've had no problem saying kids should be groomed. Kids should be sexualized. Kids should be the object of their teacher's weird fetish. They want to talk to children in school about their sex lives. They want kids to be transitioned. They want kids to be gay. They want kids to be raped in school so they can cover it up, of course. They want kids to go to drag queen story hour. You see what I'm saying? The Democrats already sold kids down the road. And now I guess maybe the Republican Party thought that they would see how many Republicans will go down that same road and just say, no problem, we're with Trump. I don't know. Folks, there's a lot more that can happen out there. A lot more. Iran is threatening war big time, saying, well, next time we have to lift a yada yada. And is this more bullshit? Like they're talking like they're going to nuke Israel. We're going to find out something big is coming. And perhaps that's been the thread all along, is that if these guys are exposed, and we discuss this, if Trump exposes the Epstein list, that a nuke is going to go off somewhere, and it'll be blamed on Iran or blamed on whoever needs to be blamed to start a war, distract everyone, and punish people for daring to step out of line. It's unbelievable. If you've got something to say, I want to hear it. We all want to hear it. We'll read it. I'll get you right here on the screen live with everyone else. We got a super chat button right up there. Sunday Night Live is how you support the channel, how we pay the bills, how I make sure I've got scotch and tuna fish and spam, and have lots of spam on hand, folks. We're going to need it. Right? You're going to need it to feed to all your Muslim good buddies. What I will be doing is opening a can of spam and putting the tip of every round of 5.56 in it, so that every round going down range is high velocity pork. And if it hits somebody, they're not going to heaven anymore. You want to talk about a rough bullet. Woo! Never mind the hollow point. None of that, right? It's got pork on it. Look out. Anyways, Trump is so wrong on this. And I think that this part of the false flag failed. It failed to get Republicans to come over to let's just forget about all the thousands of little boys and girls who have been raped by Epstein and his buddies. I think that failed, but it's certainly demoralizing. But it's a hell of a wake-up call, is it not? It's a hell of a wake-up call. Thank you for kicking the show off, Chin Music and Darcy T. This is your show. If you want to talk, you got something to say, I want to know it. There's a lot going on out there. I don't want to do 24/7 Trump. We're going to get plenty more this week. Trust me on this. But I want to follow up one last piece with this, right? Trump went and did a huge post on Truth Central, his version of Twitter X. And the expression for what happened is called getting ratioed. Well, for the first time ever, he decided he was going to congratulate Bondi and Bongino and everyone about how they handled everything really good, and how it's Obama and Hillary and Biden. He got more negative comments than he got people giving him I like that thumbs up. But for some reason, he's not reading. He's not listening. He's not looking. He just wrote out there, "Quit talking about Epstein!" ! !5. It's like, well, I guess he's tone deaf, right? Right. He still thinks he is correct to let Epstein's child rapist run amok, or is something else going on here? Either way, what we know about Trump is he's got a huge ego. He's Trump. We all knew that. He's very concerned about his public image, but he's fucking it up really bad, is he not? What else? He's worried about his legacy. How is the world going to remember Donald J. Trump? He's certainly screwing that up too. Well, he was a good American. He helped Americans, minorities, everybody in the country. He was loved and respected. He was feared by his enemies. But then he turned out to be a pedophilia supporter. Because you can't let them get away with what they're doing and then say, yeah, I'm against that. Well, it's a crime. You're against that as a crime, but you won't do anything about it as the most powerful national administrator executive on the fucking planet. See the problem there? All right, Mr. Uman, I know we're going to have an exciting show. Lots of people out there are pretty upset, and rightly so. What do you guys want to talk about, Mr. Uman? Let's start the show on the board. And right out the gate, we got Robin G. And she's got a $50 super chat. And she's got a lot to say. And I'm going to read it here in a second once I pour a Glenlivet. Any super chat that's $50 or more buys me a scotch. And that helps lubricate the brain and get the jaw going, because we're going to be here from 6 o'clock Eastern to 8 o'clock Eastern time. And even later if something crazy comes up. Just like mother's milk. Okay, Robin G. She says, will Dan Bongino show up for work tomorrow? That's a great question. Will he show up for work as Dan Bongino, Deputy Director of the FBI? Or will he show up as Dan Bongino, the kick-ass podcasting, right-wing social media, yada, yada, yada? Robin says, I think he should, to keep an eye on them. Now, this is brilliant on your part, Robin. Okay, so we know Dan Bongino's pissed. He's pissed, allegedly, that Pam Bondi has handled the Epstein thing all wrong. 100% pissed. Should he show up and keep an eye on Pam and Cash and Trump and everyone else? Well, I'll tell you what. If Dan truly is, I'm going to use the expression, a red-blooded, God-fearing, patriotic American who doesn't approve of pedophilia, then the answer is, yeah, he should. He should be a spy on the inside. And so then, Robin, you say, hold them accountable as best he can. Well, see, here's the deal, is Dan hasn't held himself accountable. And it's sad to say, because like everyone else, I really wanted to believe Dan Bongino was going to be a fucking ass kicker. That's the hope. The reality is everyone is on a leash. Dan is on a leash. Cash is on a leash. Pam is on a leash. And it appears Trump is on Israel's leash as well. Not happy to say those words, folks, but I had to say those words. It appears everyone has their leash and they'll get fucking yanked anytime they piss their master off. So if Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, Deputy Director of the FBI, if he's having misgivings about continuing to toe the line and he stays in there and learns some stuff, he could get Arkansas-cited. He could get Hillary cited. See what I'm saying? He could get Clinton cited if he were to reveal anything that he learned that he should not be knowing. So you continue, Robin. You say he, meaning Dan, can't go against Trump per se, but his reactions will tell us what is really happening if we read between the lines. And I think that's a big part of it, is, Robin, once we read between the lines, as you suggest, someone like Cash Patel is going to call us, me and you, conspiracy theorists. You're not allowed to read between the lines. You're not allowed to notice consistencies within a particular national origin group or particular ethnic group or particular racial group. You're not allowed to notice any consistencies, so you can point and go, aha, because then you're a racist, or aha, you're an anti-Semite, or aha. See what I'm saying? You're not allowed to read between the lines. All we have to do is follow people and look for patterns. Patterns of behavior, patterns in action, patterns in consequences, patterns in results. Once you see patterns, it makes it a little easier. So one of the things I did notice about Dan Bongino is over the past few weeks, he has seemed less and less comfortable. He seems less and less comfortable. His complexion seems to be a darker, more reddish color, as if he's pissed. He's flush. He's not happy. His facial expressions, his tone of voice, even the way he has written things, didn't sound as confident and inspiring. I think he's read between the lines and figured out, right, that's not his job and he doesn't get to say shit. What's interesting, and by the way, we're over 300 people live right now. Share the internet address. Make sure you thumbs up. Please thumbs up. And please subscribe. You cannot comment down below until you're a subscriber for 5 minutes. All right. So, yeah, he has seemed very uncomfortable. And Elon Musk, he became uncomfortable too, did he not? After weeks and weeks of campaigning, and then weeks and weeks of setting up Department of Government Efficiency, I think Elon Musk read between the lines, Robin. And I think he realized, I just exposed money laundering, fraud, theft in the trillions of dollars. Not an arrest, not a single fucking arrest. I think he read between the lines and figured it out. Now, I don't like Elon Musk's politics with respect to, the things that he's told us about politics. Second Amendment and bringing foreign workers into our country, right? His American party's already dead in the water. Unbelievable. But we can read between the lines. He wasn't happy. I don't think Dan Bongino's happy. I think that he's having an internal struggle. But still, this is where integrity counts. And he's threatened to quit, or he may quit. It took 6 months. He lied to us to our faces continually. Epstein didn't kill himself. Saw the tape myself, right? Bunch of bullshit. Or Epstein did kill himself, right? You can't lie to us continuously for months and then have a crisis of conscience. And this is just me, Robin. You can't lie to me and the American people for months on end, and then at the very end of it have a crisis of conscience. Say, you know what, I've had enough, and quit. And then expect me to jump on the bandwagon and sing his praises. It's like, Dan, you joined, you fucked up, you sold out for a while, you lied to us, you misled an entire nation in the world, and I'm glad you finally woke up, buddy. You go back to your channel, you do whatever it is that you do, but don't expect me to sing your fucking praises. Right? Robin G says, if it was something of national security, then just tell us we can't talk about it. End of story. But don't try to gaslight us through manipulation. Thank you, Robin. Exactly. Right. Right. There's no national security this is one of the ways that I think a lot of these people who have drank the Kool-Aid, the Trump Kool-Aid, the MAGA Kool-Aid, they think that, well, now that I've picked this guy, President Trump, and I supported him, I voted for him, I cannot leave him, right? I got to stick with this. You can't have a nation if the nation is based on lawless behavior by the elites, the oligarchs, the ruling class, whatever you want to call them. You cannot have a country that does that and allows that. Right? When it comes to good and evil, you can't have a house divided against itself. It'll fall. So you can't say America is a good nation, but then allow the trafficking, exploitation, rape, and abuse of thousands of children, knowing it's true and doing nothing about it. That's not a good nation. You can't say it's a matter of national security. We're going to allow that. You can't allow that. Right? This whole thing that, well, Epstein was a CIA asset, so let's let him off of the charges and let him out of court. No, that is awful. Right? You committing crimes in a national security frame is no excuse. Right now look, violent. Now, what kind of crime could be committed? Well, spying, espionage. You spy on other countries to learn what you can for national defense, national security. Okay, that's a different kind of crime. Right? That's a crime against another nation. But a crime that is committed against the people of a nation or its children. Right? They're not involved in this game. Spy versus spy, that's spies. Military versus military, that's war. But rich, old, sick, filthy, perverted men and women hurting children. There's no argument in there for national security. A lot of people have said, wow, you do this, we're going to have an economic downturn. The stock market could collapse. We could lose all kinds of corporations. Yeah, you bet. And it's worth it. Because here's what would happen. The moment they release the Epstein list, everyone on it has to quit, resign, or they get arrested. They're gone. They can no longer be controlled by the CIA or the FBI. They can no longer be controlled by MI6 or Mossad. They're no longer useful idiots for this nation's enemies. That, my friend Robin, is a national security strategery that I can sink my teeth in. Take away all their puppets, all their stooges, all of their compromised people. And now we've got a clean slate. And I don't give a fuck if 25, 50, 75, or 95% of Congress went the way of the dodo as a consequence. We would have the problem cleared up with respect to our government being controlled. Anyways, Robin, that was a great topic. Great way. It allowed me to segue into a lot of different things I've been thinking about all weekend. A lot of things I've been sharing via email, text, etc. And then, of course, reading mainstream media, right-wing media. And folks, mainstream media is left-wing media, so I get both sides. In any event, there's a lot of crazy stuff. All right, Mr. Ooman, let's do it. Who's up next? It is you. And he says they have. The only one they can be is Trump. Has successfully split the right, conservatives, patriots, MAGA with this. Everyone is choosing a side and saying, you're either 100% with us or you're against us. That's communist tactics. Uman says they were catching too much heat from our collective side to fire Bondi, Patel, and Bongino. Now they have us fighting with each other instead of keeping the heat on them. I think that may have been part of their plan. That was part of their false flag, is to distract us and have people excusing away one side or attacking the other. What I found fascinating is that the only people I have seen really supporting this whole, let's just forget about all the thousands of children who have been harmed and killed and tortured. We need to follow the Trumpster. It's been a couple of social media influencers and their most diehard supporters. But for the most part, I've gone to their sites and I've read their comments from people that follow them. And they're like, nope, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. So the attempt to divide and conquer, divide and quiet, divide and distract, it's definitely done that. People are now they're now going after Trump instead of going after Bongino and Pam and Patel. But everyone still knows those are the lapdogs. Now Trump has basically pulled the curtain back and said, I'm the guy at the top making these calls. And he let Pam off the hook and said she's doing a great job. And he let Cash off the hook and said he's doing a great job. We're going to find out if Bongino quit, if he just took the day off. You had to do it, man. He says, trust the plan. Just not signed with a Q and nonsense handle. Yeah, everyone who's on this, let's just forgive Trump for letting extremely rich old people, young people, business people, banker people, Israeli people. Let's just give them a pass and forget and pretend like it's not happening. It didn't happen and it's not going to keep happening. Right. But yeah, trust the plan. Just look, this is 5D chess. But right, QAnon is still out there. They just don't call themselves QAnon anymore. But they're just using phrases like trust the plan. Folks, you can trust who you want. I have always told you, Ooman has everyone, right? Do your own research. Think for yourself. All we offer here is a look at news, current events, offer an opinion, and then you do the rest. I don't tell you, if you don't agree with me, you should unsubscribe. No, I even if you don't agree with me, stay subscribed. I think you should listen to me, and I should get your comments on here from time to time, and we discuss it like real human beings. But that whole I'll unfollow you, and if you should unfollow me, and it's like they're trying to make it a breakup scenario. I'm not fucking married to any of you people. You're not married to me, right? It's a mutually beneficial relationship being here. But that's the game they play. Trust the plan or you're a communist. It's like, I'm not a communist, and I don't approve of pedophilia, fuckers. Anyways, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Mr. Uman, who's next? We're at about 350 people live as we go to Nancy Kaig with a $20 super chat donation. Her question is, just a little more for your spam fun. Oh, you bet I love that spam. She says, we had a pride weekend in a town near me. I say, yuck. I wish they would get over it. Well, I can tell you this, Nancy. The pride people, that would be the lesbian, bisexual, gay, trans, queer, right, LGBTQ, and pedophiles. Those people, I think America is over it. I think America is over it. We're done, right? But they're still going to have their parades. They're still going to put their flags up here and there, and we're still not going to give a shit about them or give them a break. They need to go away. But, right, in this country, you don't just kill people. Well, the Democrats are actually doing that, by the way. Yes, they are. The Democrats are killing people they don't agree with. We don't. They do. Anyways, yeah, they're not going to get over anything. In fact, we've got more Democrat violence yet again, this time in Kentucky. A Kentucky state trooper has been shot. And there are multiple victims at a Lexington, Kentucky church who have been injured. The suspect, no doubt a Democrat scumbag, a socialist scumbag. I don't know if they're LGBTQP yet. I'm not going to do the plus anymore. It's P for pedophile. I am absolutely sure that's who did this because Republicans don't go and shoot up churches. That's what Democrats do. Right. These pride people have done more than their fair share of killing and mass murder. Don't forget, folks, there is no place safe. A public place with lots of people, not safe. These Democrats have gone and shot up shopping malls. They've shot up businesses. They've shot up schools. They've shot up churches. No, the places we would think should be safe, schools are a no-gun zone, right? That'll stop the criminals. Fortunately, the state trooper was there. Maybe the reason that the suspect is dead, but unfortunately caught some lead himself. It's a dangerous world, folks. Dangerous. I am not saying anything like, well, since Trump is for and allowing all this pedophilia, then we need to get violent. Not going to hear that from me. But we're going to learn and figure out exactly who is on whose side and why. Oh, this coming week is going to be one hell of a shit show. Thank you, Nancy, very much for the great support. We need all the help we can get. It's getting to be a rough economy, folks. The economy is getting rough. All right. Who's next? Mr. Uman had to get all set for it. We got Bob Hunter from the great nation of Scotland with a £5 super chat donation. And he says, John, I'm sick of so-called political parties. You and me, Bob. You and me both. You, me, and the cat. He says they have betrayed people across the world. And this is absolutely disgusting. In fact, let me share this one with you, Bob. I don't know if you're aware, but in Ireland, just across this little body of water there, right? The Irish, kind of, your cousins there, they have decided that all of the illegals that have children, those children get to go into schools. They're guaranteed a spot in schools. But if you're Irish, if your family's Irish, if you're native Irish, if you were born Irish, if you look Irish, which means you probably have very white skin, some freckles, and reddish hair, if you're Irish, you have to take a lottery. You have to take a lottery ticket to see if your kid can go to school. But every fucking illegal is allowed and pushed into school at the front of the line. That is betrayal of the people by their own government. Bob says, no more, John, no more corporate political fascism. That's precisely what it is, sir. Fascism is an alliance between corporations and the government for mutually beneficial fuckery, for lack of a better word. The government gives special benefits to corporations. The corporation gets special contributions to the politicians. So the more powerful these foreigners get in these countries, the more money they throw at politicians, the more campaigns they fund, the more of their own people they put in charge. But yeah, I'm telling you, Bob, this problem that we speak of isn't just Irish. It's not just American. Look what Canada's government has done to Canada. Look what Australia and New Zealand have done to their nations. Look what the United States of America, its own politicians, have done in all 50 states, nationally as well. Look at all of Europe. Unfucking believable that they'll turn on their own people. They kill farming. They push immigrations on people, immigrants. They push maddening levels of taxation. England, as a nation, is allowing immigrants to rape their women, and they will not open investigations. They will not do anything about it. But if you speak about it, they'll arrest you. If you criticize the government, they'll arrest you. Muslims will blare their bullshit horn, call to prayer, and wherever they're at, they run for the nearest road and start praying in the middle of the road, stopping traffic, pissing everyone off. But if you're a Christian and you stand on the side of the road silently, near something that a Christian might pray gets fixed, the police will question you. Are you praying? And if they think you're praying, then they will arrest you for praying publicly because it's offensive to Muslims. And dogs are offensive to Muslims. It's fucking unbelievable, folks. It's corporate political fascism. It is a cult of death. They're trying to destroy every nation. Now, what destroys nations? War. War destroys nations. The typical war we've seen is soldiers, tanks, airplanes, and ships. Men facing each other on the battlefield, killing each other for their country. This war, unlike those, doesn't need another country. Every country is at war with itself. Every country, the government, is at war with its own people. We don't need a foreign enemy in terms of an army to destroy our countries. Our own governments are doing it to us. And I don't think anyone can deny that. That's not a gross exaggeration. Anyways, Bob, thank you very much, sir. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? It is Sunday Night Live, and we've had a lot of crazy shit. And Bob is back again with a 2-pound note this time. He said, odd how all our heroes turn out to be wet blankets. Well, it is odd. It is odd to me to think that someone who's good could put themselves in a position of power and authority, and it turns out they fail, they suck, they lie, they cheat, they steal. They're just as bad as the last guy. But here's the deal. I don't think Trump, and they tried not to let him get elected because he is kind of a loose cannon. They finally got to him, folks. You don't get to be powerful in politics at the national level, at the state level, or even at the local level unless you know the right people. Unless you say the right things to the right people, you don't get it, and you don't get to be elected. So this is interesting, Bob. You use the word heroes. Trump had hero-like status after being shot and standing up and raising his fist, right? Saying, fight, fight, fight. We're fighting now, and he doesn't like it. But that kind of got him into a hero status. And I thought, all he has to do is make the right decisions, and he'll never go back down. He'll never go down. But he's not making the right decisions, is he? No, he is not. All right, everyone, be sure and share the internet address, whether you're on the preparedmind.club, subscribestar.com, YouTube, X, Rumble, BitChute, wherever you're at. Share, hit the share button. Be sure to thumbs up. Be sure to be a subscriber so that you get notifications when more information comes out. Last week, I did a live video in the middle of the day because something big happened. Oh, I'm expecting some more big things to happen. I truly am. Mr. Uman, who is up next? We've got Holy Cow Cyber Hana checking in with a $50 super chat donation. And what that means is I get to have a Glenn Levitt 15-year scotch for every $50 or more super chat. And here we are. Oh, here we are. This is going to do it right here. This is going to warm me up all the way. Yep, 40 minutes into the show, I'm warmed up. Thank you, Cyberhana. Ooh, that is good medicine, my friends. And Semper Fi, Cyberhana, means always faithful, folks. Always faithful. So this is what Cyberhana writes. She says, so someone pointed out today that caused me to pause. I hearing Sheena has passed 3 decades opening up deep sea ports. Oh, that's China. I'm hearing China has the past 3 decades opening up deep sea ports. They have control of 90% of deep sea ports all over the world. The USA has control of only 2 deep sea ports. What are my thoughts? Well, my thoughts are that the government of the United States of America out of Washington, D.C. has felt that since the whole world has to use U.S. dollars, it's the world reserve currency. You could only buy oil with U.S. dollars. Because of that, everyone would love U.S. dollars and welcome them wherever they wanted. In other words, there was no reason for the United States of America to engage in commerce in such a way, right, that they had to have mutually beneficial agreements with people. They didn't. China didn't have the reserve currency of the world, right? The Chinese yuan, right? It's just another fiat currency. So instead, they went into all these countries, talked to the leaders, worked with businesses, worked with mines, worked with farms, whatever the commodity was that country could do. And China wants to sell them their goods. So what they did was they made a deal with these countries, folks. It's not hard to research this one. They say, look, we will build, improve, and open seaports for you guys, whether the country is South America or Africa, Southeast Asia. It didn't matter. They're helping. And then they say, well, in exchange for that, we want these business concessions for you. So China, intelligently and smartly, has cooperated with these other countries to get control, literal control, and, shall we say, most favored nation status with these other countries. They started this, literally decades ago. What America didn't see happening, even though they did it to themselves, was the rest of the world wants to walk away from the US dollar because it is no longer the world reserve currency. It is a weaponized currency. It was weaponized by Joe Biden when he went and said, Russia, we're freezing $350 billion worth of treasury bonds that you purchased from the United States government. We're not going to let you sell them, redeem them, trade them, nothing. They're frozen. They're done. So the world, the leaders of the world, other nations are like, if they can do that to China, they can do that to us. Well, that's not such a good idea, right? So, oops, China right now is going, well, we have significant control, and in some cases, outright managerial control of deep sea ports around the world, 90% of them. All we have to do is let the United States government keep fucking itself up. And there you have it. Literally, there you have it. China started what they're doing years and years ago to get better trade relations with countries, to get better deals made. And they came through and it worked. It worked for China. The United States has been delinquent in doing things similarly. Sadly to say, like the State Department, the Commerce Department, the Secretary of State, they should have all been working with other countries to deepen and improve relationships, improving infrastructure in other countries. Oh, yeah. Well, wait a minute. Wait. No, the United States doesn't do that. Who do we give money to? Ukraine, Israel, right? We give money to countries to open up drag queen bars and to create university programs to understand transgenderism. Like, these things don't improve our relations. They give away millions here and millions there and even billions. But when it comes to helping countries improve their economies, improve trade, the United States has fallen by the wayside, sadly, thinking that the very fact that people or nations have to use the dollar was enough to keep them in line. Well, interestingly, Cyberhana, the BRICS Union, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and another 24 plus countries that are signed on officially and many that are affiliated, they now represent over 85% of the population of the world. With the United States of America and Europe notwithstanding, everywhere else around the world, they're making great inroads to control not just seaports, but economic and trade relations between countries. And they are creating a cross-payment system, so they're no longer using the United States SWIFT system for trading dollars. They're like, we don't need that. They are going to a gold-backed settlement agreement system. It's not a gold-backed currency, but it's going to be a gold-backed settlement system. So that is why nations around the world are buying gold hand over fist. Some by the tons and the hundreds of tons. Other nations are buying it by, a ton here and a ton there. But the purpose is to say, we have trade relations with the country. At the end of the year, we need to settle up, right? Is it even? We both bought and sold this much from each other? Or is there a little bit of a trade imbalance and it's settled with gold? That's where it's going. They're not wanting to use the dollar because there's stipulations behind it. And there's punishments behind it and threats behind it. That doesn't work, right? Negotiate tough, but wow, I tell you, folks, that was a great Scotch Cyberhana and a great topic. Thank you so much. Mr. Uman, let us continue if we shall. There is truly a lot going on, folks. We got Boomer checking in with a $20 super chat donation. And he said, hey, just a thought. Is it possible that the Epstein files are being buried due to guilt of association leading to a domino effect? Yes, indeed. 100%. That is exactly my opinion. I used for the thumbnail for this video a picture that I've never seen before until today. Okay, well, how about that? You're kidding me. Is it a conspiracy theory? Wow. Looks like about 100 people clicked. No, not 100 people. We're back. We're at 350 people live right now, folks. Now, back to the question by Boomer, which is a great question. It just makes me wonder, are they actually killing the channel on purpose? Okay, now here we go. Domino effect. I got that picture of Epstein and Trump sitting on a couch with young ladies back in the 90s. Rather incriminating, is it not? Indeed, it is. It really is. It's pretty damn incriminating. Now, let's just say they release 10 people's names and pictures and they go arrest them. Do you think those 10 guys, those 10 multimillionaires, those 10 politicians, do you think they're going to be happy with that? Do you think they're going to go down? Or do you think they're going to want to roll over and say, if you're going to get me, you're going to get them? I tell you, I have my concerns, folks. Okay, welcome back again. And I got a picture of Trump and Epstein, young girls. These politicians, if they're singled out, will roll over on each other. If you recall, and I'll ask you to recall, Hillary Clinton said, if I go down, I'm going to take down half of Washington, D.C. And of course, everyone said, we welcome it. Go right ahead. Nothing we'd like more. It is an association, guilt by association, leading to the domino effect. The picture of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, very incriminating. They're not naked. The girls look to be 18 or older. Yet he's sitting on a couch next to someone who would later become a convicted pedophile and then a 2-time pedophile. So what are we supposed to make of that, right? It's damning. It's damning. Now, we know that there's, if not hundreds, or if not thousands, many, many hundreds of these super elite scumbags and entertainment people and politicians and bankers and lawyers and Israelis, yada, 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 that use this sort of thing, right? Pedophilia to trap and control people. If they give us just 10, that's not enough. We know there's hundreds, if not over 1,000 of these super rich scumbags. So they can't just give us one or two. They've got to give us the whole damn bunch. And that's the problem, right? They're buried because once it starts, everyone goes down. Now, let's just say there's this big block, Boomer, of pedophiles. Well, there's going to be pedophiles in there. They go, well, you got me for this, but that guy over there, that banker over there, he may not be a pedophile, but he's embezzling, and that other guy is laundering money. Yeah, and so once again, we're like, I agree with those terms. I'm fine with that. All criminals need to be taken down. Yeah, it's going to fuck up banking, finance, investments, business, jobs, the economy, world order. Great. At least we now have all of the fucking scumbags caught. We'll have to just leave the illegals alone for a couple of months while we deal with all these fucking people. Actually, I think the world can handle jailing and holding 10,000 white-collar scumbags. No problem. In fact, I think Florida, I hereby volunteer Florida to open up another Alligator Alcatraz for all of these scumbags and put them in it. And I think Pam Bondi should be hired to bring them food every day. So she can go, oh, hi, I remember you. Sorry you got caught. Hi, I remember you. Here's your food. Yeah. That'd be a good job for her, I think. I think she can handle that without fucking it up too much. In any event, yes, they don't want the domino effect. We can't just have 5 because then we'll want 10, then 100, then all of them. And all the pedophiles are going to point out all of the grifters, the bribery, the extortion. They're going to point out everything. And so, yeah, domino effect, huge, huge. And the world has had it with this shit. We've absolutely fucking had it with this shit. I mean, the politicians are screwing their own people over. In Spain, the Spaniards are fighting literal street battles with immigrants. And this same type of war, immigrant war, it's coming to America as well as Ireland and Scotland and England and Wales and France and everywhere. It's everywhere. But, I mean, in Spain, in a small little town called, I think, Torre Pacheco, an old man was nearly beaten to death by Moroccan immigrants. Morocco is Africa. They're Muslim. They came across the Strait of Gibraltar. They invade Spain, and then they just start beating up old men. So, yeah, now the Spaniards are going after them, folks. It's a domino effect, right? Now, okay, Spaniards, okay, English and Scots, you go after the bad guys on the street, but remember who the bad guys that were let them in. They want us fighting with each other and fighting these people off. They don't want us looking at them and saying, you guys are the pedophiles. You guys are the extortionists. You guys are the money laundering scumbags. That's who really needs to go. That's who really needs to go, these scumbags. Anyways, Boomer, thank you, brother, very much. Mr. Uman, let us keep going. We're 1 hour in. Apparently, YouTube is done trying to kill the channel for the show. Dan Erickson is back with a $5 super chat donation. He says, what happened to all the UFO material that they were going to release also? Oh, yeah. UFO material. UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. Right? The government is supposed to come clean about aliens and alien technology, interdimensional technology, space travel. Right? But what have we said, right? The time horizon for any normal person's attention span is about 3 days. And then they change the subject and they change the thing. They keep us off balance, keep us guessing, keep us going, oh, yeah, I remember that. How about this one, Dan? Remember that thing called election fraud? Oh, not just from 2024, but 2020. Remember that thing called the Russia collusion hoax? Yeah, remember that? Remember the 52, 54, whatever the hell, 50 plus intelligence community smarties. They were all supposed to get arrested. We're going to find those people and arrest them. They didn't arrest them. We're going to find the people, Russian collusion, vote fraud. We're going to arrest the Biden administration for letting in 20 to 30 million illegals. Nothing, right? The UFO material, done. How about this? Fort Knox audit. Where's all the gold, right? Trump did his thing. He who has the gold makes the rules, and we got the most gold. And then all of a sudden, the Fort Knox audit. How about all of Congress going, we're going to protect women in sports? All the Republicans and all the Democrats were like, we hate women, and we want women out of women's sports, and only men who cut off their dicks can be in women's sports. And now the Republican women are like, women are number one, except when it comes to Epstein, right? They keep changing shit on us. They keep saying, we're going to release this, and then they don't. And we're going to fix that, and then they don't. So it's like red herring after red herring. I tell you what, Big Dan, get prepared. I think that's the number one thing all of us can do. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And a plan. Have that so that no matter what happens, whether we get an alien invasion or we get, on our border, another alien invasion, whether we get these pedophiles pulling the trigger and crashing their businesses, taking their money out of the economy. Well, I'm a billionaire, and if you threaten me with that, I'm going to take my money. Good, we don't want your sick, twisted fucking money. Right? Oh, who else? How much you want to bet? This is not an accusation. This is, it's a conspiracy theory. How much you want to bet that the big shots at BlackRock, Vanguard, these really big mega institutions, how much you want to bet they're involved in the Jeffrey Epstein and other areas? You want a domino effect? Jeffrey Epstein was just one of many, folks. Some of these people that have been pedophile hunters, if you remember the movie that came out, right, with Jim Caviezel, he's an agent, went down and rescued some children who were being trafficked in Central America. I thought that movie was going to be about trafficking in our country. It wasn't. It was about another little country. How many networks are there in this country? We know of two now. The P. Diddy network and the Epstein network. And I'm sure a lot of the people cross paths on both, right? Kind of like Obama. Obama, yeah, he was a big shot with P. Diddy. I'm sure he was a big shot with Epstein as well. Him and his hot dog and pizza parties in the White House. There's networks all over the place, right? They don't want us to know. Anyways, Big Dan, yeah, I got it. I'd like to know about these UFOs. Are we dealing with tall whites? Are we dealing with Nordic aliens? Are we dealing with these little gray bastards, reptilians, bugs? All of them? Are they friend, foe, enemy? Be nice to know. I'd like to plan out my weekend. You know what I'm saying? All right, Big Dan. Thank you, sir. Mr. Uman, who is next on the Prepared Mind channel? And Uman himself says we got a PayPal, $5 from Augie L. And he said, just wanted to say that I've lost a lot of respect for Trump. It was like a kick in the stomach when he basically said, quote, nothing to see here. Let's move on. I don't need names. I want accountability. I didn't lose a little respect. Me personally, I lost all respect. If you're not willing to defend children, if you're not willing to protect children in your own country, when you are that powerful and you have all the resources to stop something so filthy and disgusting and heinous, and you're like, who cares, right? Now, it's hard to say, look, over in Israel, the Hamas people and Hezbollah people are blowing people up. They're terrorists. And the IDF, the Israelis, they're killing Hamas and Hezbollah, and that they're also killing women and children and innocents. It's horrifying. But that's their countries, and I can't stop them. Right? And America shouldn't get involved at that. It's like, look, if you guys are having a war, fine, but where do you draw the line? What control does America have over another nation, especially Israel, that seems to be controlling America? And Tucker Carlson said something about that at Turning Point USA, TPUSA. They had a big convention, and a bunch of Israelis stood up and walked out because he said, hey, it really looks like the Israelis are controlling things. They should not be controlling government. I think the thing that he spoke about is dual citizenship. You cannot have two masters. You can only serve one. And a lot of people say, oh, no, you can do both. But yeah, if something benefits both those countries, you're like, yeah, see, it benefits both. I can serve both masters. What happens when it only serves one? Does giving $25 billion a year to Israel, how does that serve America? How does that help us? You know, they're serving themselves. In any event, yeah, I want accountability. I want names, Augie. I do want names because the name goes with the face, and the name and the face go with the body, and that body can be arrested and thrown in jail. Then that body can be held accountable in a courtroom. Give them a fair trial. Give them a jury of non-pedophiles. And I bet everyone who's a parent will look at that person and go, you did that. How can you not get the death sentence for what you've done? Right? See, I don't want to watch the movies. I don't want to see that. That's got to be horrifying. In fact, that movie, Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel, was about trafficking of children. He would watch these movies that these people made and would sell and give to each other to say, oh, you can buy this or you can have that, meaning buy a child. Hey, Clinton Foundation, maybe you can, help the world understand how you do it. So fucking awful people, right? Someone can watch that, blur out the face of the child and say, this person, and then list the crimes they committed. And you can rest assured that that's not the only time they did it. I want full accountability, and I lost all respect. You cannot forgive that. You can't. Now, here's the other thing. Well, wait a minute, John. What if it's Jamie Dimon, right? The big shot at JP Morgan Bank. What if he's on this list? Good, arrest him. Well, what if he comes out and publicly apologizes? He accepts responsibility for what he did. Good, fine, then you go to jail. You can admit your guilt. At least you've come clean. You've cleared your conscience. Right? But the rest of them, they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to admit shit. They don't even want their names or faces, period. Right? They want to pretend like they had nothing to do with it, never had a part in it. Right? That's what the criminals want, and Trump is trying to help them keep that. Trump is trying to help them keep that game going. If they're not caught, if they're not exposed, if they're not stopped, they're going to keep going. Like I said, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't the only one. There are rumors and stories. Well, is it Balmoral Castle over in Europe? They've got theirs in Europe. A bunch of pedophile networks and torture sites. Same here in the United States of America. Right? If there's one, you can bet your ass there's a dozen. All right. Thank you for that. Mr. Uman, where are we going next? Did I lose him? Oh, there we go. Chin Music in the house. Thank you, Chin, for the $52.23 super chat donation earlier and the scotch that went with it. And now we got a $4.99. He says, Clinton's people maintained he never knew Jeffrey till he left office. Then the picture from a couple of White House parties surfaced. Israel gets what they want. Folks, Israel is getting named in all of the names and the naming. Mossad, their version of the CIA, is getting named in all of the names. There are tons of pictures and associations between Bill and Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, but also with Trump and Epstein. The pictures, there's lots of them, not just one or two like I used to think. And I'm certain that once Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of being a pedophile in 2008, where he was also given a break and said to be part of the intelligence community, FBI, CIA, I'm sure after that, Trump said, I'm going to put some distance between me and you. But before that, there's a lot of parties and pictures of both Trump and the First Lady. You bet. Melania Trump, Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell has a case that I think is being, they're trying to get it in front of the Supreme Court. I'm sure she's going to say, well, if there's no list and there's no evidence, then what was I found guilty of? I was found guilty of trafficking children to nobody. Yeah, folks. But anyways, Israel gets what they want. Now, all of this happened. We're sick of you attacking Pam Bondi. We're sick of you attacking Cash Patel. We're sick of you attacking Dan Bongino. You bunch of rascally Republicans. Trump even has been allegedly saying that you and I, if we're pissed at him and the FBI and the Attorney General, we are ungrateful. You serve us, pal. Everyone in Washington, D.C., you guys serve all of us. You work for us. We pay the fucking bills, and we don't like supporting this shit. Anyways, back to this Israel, right? Benjamin Netanyahu shows up. He goes to Congress. They give him, 51 standing ovations, or was it 57 standing ovations? Doesn't matter. More than 50 standing ovations for Bibi Netanyahu, who has done jack shit to help the United States of America. But let's give him a lot of money and a lot of weapons and a lot of this and a lot of that and kiss his ass up one side, down the other. But Bibi shows up. All of a sudden, Trump's like, there's no list. Shut up, America. You bunch of ungrateful ingrates. Don't you know who I am? I'm Trump. Right? Here we are. I told you from the very beginning, I will support Trump as long as he does his job. The moment he fucks up, I'm going to call him out on it. I have been consistent. You guys have been consistent. I don't like this, but it's happening. This is reality. Trump is trying to cover the tracks of pedophiles because they're extremely powerful, no doubt. No doubt. Like I said, it could be the executives at Vanguard or BlackRock or Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan. I don't know who. It could be half the politicians. It could be 3/4 of the politicians and bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. I don't know. What we do know is he's giving them cover. Shut up, you stupid Americans. Anyways, wow. And Israel, folks, if there's one foreign nation that controls America's policy, it's Israel. Go to every congressman and every senator's office in D.C., and you'll discover a vast majority of them, vast majority, have a little sign out in front of their door. The picture, right, it's framed of the Israeli national flag. There should only be one nation's flag, the United States of America. If you're a senator, congressman, possibly your state flag could be on the outside and inside of your office. And if you respect and honor the branches of the military or served, and you're a congressman or senator, you could have military flags, but not the flag of another nation. Your state, yes. Another nation, no. That's just my opinion. I guess it's unpopular because all of Washington, D.C. couldn't give a fuck what we think, right? All righty, let's do it, Mr. Uman. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We've got Chelsea Weerong and husband with a $49.99 super chat donation. And the lights are on. They feel a little dim, Chelsea. Right? This has been a dark fucking week psychologically. But a $50 super chat buys a 15-year scotch. You can actually smell the wine barrel that this was aged in. In any event, Chelsea and husband, thank you. Semper Fi. God bless America. Keep us on track, the straight and true. We need all the help we can get at this point. We're back to that kind of a place. Oh, man. But yes, we'll definitely keep the lights on. Your donation, your super chat here Very, very good. Keeps the lights on. Now, where do I go? You say topic of my choice. Let's go here. Cash Patel, right? Pam and Cash and Dan, they're all kind of off the hook, right? Well, Cash Patel really fucking pissed me off. He posted a statement on X about conspiracy theories and theorists and people that push that, right? And he talked about staying at the FBI after all this drama, right, with Bondi and Bongino. Well, I wrote him a nasty response, right? A big fuck you to Cash Patel. He is a lying shithead, right? The reason is he went after and tried calling us conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists, especially in the last 20 years, have been correct and more correct about everything from weather control, weather manipulation, the JFK files, right? The murder of a sitting United States president, the building in Oklahoma City, the whatever Murrah Federal Building, and then of course 9/11. We have been right every step of the way. Right? You're a lying sack of shit allowing pedophiles to walk, Patel, and continue to rape helpless children. But don't worry, right? We're conspiracy theorists, even though we're right every single time. You may not like it, but we're right all the fucking time. But don't worry, he's got an excellent girlfriend. Oh, you bet. Yeah, she's half his age. You know, and this is fine. For a regular person, I don't care. If you're a 50-year-old cougar with a 20-year-old boyfriend, I don't care. I don't care if you're a 55-year-old businessman and you've got a 30-year-old girlfriend that was your secretary. I don't care. Because you're just business people. You're just regular people. When you're the director of the FBI, I don't know how he got that position being single, because you're not supposed to get into extreme or high-level executive positions if you're not married, because you can be more easily compromised. This goes for generals or admirals in the military. You don't get past the rank of colonel. You don't get into general and admiral unless you're married, because that way you don't get into trouble. You don't have girlfriend problems. You're settled. You're well settled. You're married. How did Cash Patel get to his age, right? In any event, his girlfriend, half his age, is also an Israeli IDF, right? She's tied to Mossad. All of a sudden, Cash Patel has an Israeli girlfriend, half his age. He's a bug-eyed, one eye's fucking squirrel hunting and the other one's fishing, right? I'm not just trying to make fun of the way he looks. It's just, I don't know. I've never heard anyone say, you know, that's the most handsome thing I've ever seen, when someone's fucking eyes look like Marty Feldman. They're all over the fucking place. Right? I'm not playing the race card here, right? She's whitish and he's very brownish, but it just seems kind of odd since she's a fucking hottie and he is a naughty. What the fuck, right? And then he's going to talk shit about us and call us conspiracy theorists when that motherfucker, Cash Patel, told us the FBI has the information. They have the evidence. They should turn it over. They should arrest people, yada, yada, yada. Now he's like, there's no Epstein list. You guys are a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Yeah, I'm sure his honeypot at home is making sure he believes the right things. In fact, the way it was written sounds like she got a hold of his phone and wrote it for him. In any event, Chelsea and husband, thank you very much for the super chat donation. We'll keep the lights on. And we'll keep hunting for facts and data to combine with our theories. Not to make them more believable, but to fucking prove them true. Crazy business. I tell you, crazy business. Cash Patel. I lost complete respect for him. Complete and total respect for Cash is gone. Pam Bondi fucking completely lost. Completely lost. Trump. I wanted to believe that he was going to be the hero we needed, not the president we deserve. Endorsing Light in the Loafers, Lindsey Graham, the same man who has stabbed Trump in the back multiple times. Trump shows up and endorses him? Folks, I tell you. Okay, we've got right at 400 people live on the show. Please be sure to subscribe if you're not. Subscribe at YouTube, subscribe anywhere, wherever you're at. If you want to be a premium member, you can go to thepreparedmind.club or subscribestar.com. Sign up there. Share the internet address. Give it a thumbs up. Spread the word, folks. There is a lot to discuss. And if you've got enough information, and that's what this is about, we share information here to get prepared mentally, as well as having food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, right? Pew-pews. We need to be prepared for more that's coming. Now, a lot of people are completely, at this moment, they can't see it. They refuse to open their eyes. They don't want to look because it is just mind-boggling. But if you're here on The Prepared Mind, you get enough information all the time to keep up with the bullshit, to understand what's going on, so that you're not shocked so bad that you're like, I support him anyways because he said to. Don't be a lemming. Don't be a sheep. Right? Here we are. Mr. Uman, what do we want to discuss next on the Prepared Mind channel this Sunday night live? It's July 13th, folks. And do stuff with Nikki. And she says, I think this is so big, nothing will happen. Israel has a large part to do with it. That is an opinion that I think everyone that I've talked to, shared information with, or listened to has said. Israel is a big part of this Epstein cover-up because, well, Epstein was tied to Mossad. Jizzy Maxwell was tied to Mossad. Her dad was Mossad. They're all Jewish. And it's exactly what they do. This is what governments do. They will get you into a position, take compromising photos and videos of you, then blackmail the shit out of you. They own you. They fucking own you. Right? Tucker Carlson came out and said he thinks he knows who funded all of the Epstein cartel and their crimes. Right? 3 guesses. Israel, or Israel, right? He says Israel is blackmailing Trump, Republicans, Democrats, and releasing the Epstein list will end all of this shit. Because all those who are controlled, they'll either quit or be arrested. America's saved, and they'll lose control. But Nikki's got this point. It is so big that they have to be willing to destroy all of their control mechanisms. And so nothing will happen. They don't want to lose that. One of the theories out there is that Trump has the list. And so we can go to all these people and now he controls them. Now, if Israel is controlling you and Trump is controlling you, you're just going to spin in circles trying to serve 2 masters, right? Someone's going to get killed, right? In the middle of this. People are going to get shot and killed. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing since they're all a bunch of fucking pedophiles anyways. But that's what's going on. Trump is not going to be able to control them. He's going to be out of office in 3.5 years if he makes it that long anyways. So he's not going to control anyone. See, the Democrats have already said that's their plan. We're going to interfere. We're going to drag our feet. We're going to make things difficult. We're going to stonewall. We're not going to let Trump have his presidency. They should fucking be fired instantly. In fact, there's one bureaucracy out there that has put their people on a lie detector test and said, are you loyal to Obama or the president? And when they said no to being loyal to Obama, if their reading showed that they were lying, they're fired. I think this is one of the intelligence services. I don't know if it was the DEI or the NSA, but I read this over the weekend. Yeah, They're trying to find out who is loyal to who. Get these fucking people out of here. They're disloyal. In fact, Trump right now is being extremely disloyal to not just the MAGA crew, not just the voting base, but to America and the law, the Constitution. He's being disloyal to the Constitution with this bullshit. Crazy world. Thank you, Nikki. Okay, Mr. Uman, where shall we roll next? Lots of topics out there to choose from. We got Dan the Man Erickson, and he's back again with a massive $20 super chat donation. And he says, the only thing that matters to me right now is our economy, because I have multiple investments and I have 2.5 years until I retire. I have $30,000 in gold and silver and quite the supply of copper, lead, and brass. Now, here's the deal. This is the corner that they want to put us in, Dan. They want to say, well, do you want to get those kids safe? Or do you want to have your retirement? Do you want to have your kids protected from these pedophiles? Or do you want to have a job? Do you want America to crash and burn in an SHTF of epic proportions? Or will you just allow this just to go away? And so they give us that either or. And they put you in a position to say, well, what matters to you most? And human beings are selfish. We have to think of ourselves. If I can't take care of John, then how can I be expected to take care of anyone else? Right? So I have to take care of John first before I can go rescue everyone else. Kind of like on the airplane, right? They go, in the event of depressurization in the cabin, right, the masks will fall from the ceiling. Place yours over your mouth and rubber band around the head before you help others, like your children, right? You have to take care of yourself first. So we're put in the uncomfortable position where they go, you either allow us to let these pedophiles go, or you're going to lose everything, right? You're going to lose everything. I get it, man. That's the pressure they put on everybody. They just want you to put on some blinders and it'll all just go away. And someone can make the case. Someone can make the case. Oh, these children are being trafficked. They're worthless kids. They're white trash. They're runaways. They're evil. They're bad. They're already prostituting themselves. Whatever the fucking excuses they have, right? They'll tell you that to minimize that. Right? It's kind of like just prostitutes in general in America. How awful is it that someone has to be a hooker? Right? You're out there selling your body for money just to get by. How awful is that? Why don't we do something to help them? Well, hell, why don't we do something to help all the fucking veterans out there who are homeless with psychological problems because they got fucked up in the military fighting wars for the government because Israel said so or England said so. All right. I'll calm it back down here. I understand. Let's go with the big enchilada here, BlackRock. Biggest investment firm on the planet. They use DEI to threaten everybody. If you don't do DEI in your company, in other words, hire a bunch of freaks, flaggots, fucknuts, and everyone else of every color and persuasion, we aren't going to buy your stocks. So all these companies hired a bunch of dumbasses to ruin their companies. BlackRock has a system. They've got a set of rules, programs, right? They got policies and procedures, lots of P's going on there. Right? They got lots of that. If they lose the CEO and the chief finance officer, the CFO, and half the board of directors, they already have all of their guidelines, policies, rules, plans all down. Those guys go to jail. Nothing changes on the next floor down where they're doing work, and the floor below that where they're doing research, and the floor before that where they're doing trading and balancing portfolios. You see, the whole economy doesn't have to crash because the top guys go to jail. Right? We already know that there are hundreds of MBAs graduating every year who go to work as fucking coffee baristas. They go to work as cashiers in retail. They come out into the world of construction and open up construction businesses. Because it's something they can do and they get a job. These big shots at these companies, trust me, they can be replaced. The Ray Dalios, the Jamie Dimons, they can be replaced. The reason they sound so important, right? The reason is because they've been around a long time. They refer to themselves and one another all the time. The news shows like to get them on all the time. And so we think, well, without that guy, without Finkel, without that guy over there, right? The world will fall apart. No, it won't. Right? Now, if Trump were to leave office, right, if he were to resign and for whatever reason, and Vice President J.D. Vance became president, do you think a whole lot would change? Now, he is in a position, right? Politicians at that level can make changes in policy. They adjust that. But he'd probably continue to go with that same policy for a while, making tweaks. But the United States of America would still be here. You and I would still be here. Every 4 years, we change the entire structure of a presidency. Just like we could change the entire structure of BlackRock, Vanguard, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, HSBC, name the company, right? We change the entire fucking control of the government. Every 2 years in Congress, every one of them can change. Every 2 years in Congress, 1/3 of the senators change. And every 4 years, we change the president, his administration. See what I'm saying? So I get it, Dan. That's the worry, right? That's that fucked up turd of a carrot they hold in front of you and go, you try getting rid of these pedophiles, you're going to lose everything, pal. You willing to risk that? So they make every filthy, disgusting fucking argument, threat to screw us over in the head. But see, here's my thing. My retirement with the government isn't for another 10 years. You're not guaranteed. I'm not guaranteed. None of us are guaranteed. The government can change its mind. It can confiscate your wealth in the bank. It can confiscate, well, your boss's wealth, your boss's company. It can destroy everything. They can send us all home and say, take off 2 months to flatten the curve on this disease. But you've done one thing in here that I really like. You've got $30,000 in gold and silver. That is my Marine Corps silver round. 1 ounce, 999 fine silver. They can close a bank. I still got this. The more they fuck with the system, the more valuable this becomes. You've done the right thing with your copper, lead, and brass. Because if you can't save your own ass, all your assets are no good. I fucking get it though, man. They've got us over a barrel. They fuck us. I mean, one of the things I have heard all weekend is, why the fuck am I paying taxes to a government that supports, allows, and even promotes pedophilia as a way to do business to control other people? Right? It's disgusting, right? I can't run a fucking stoplight without fucking getting the rollers behind me, and it's my ass, right? This is why I like this so much. I wish I had some gold. I wish I had a lot more of this, right? Having $30,000 in real physical assets, that's good. It's admirable. You're protecting yourself. The more government fucks up, Dan, the more valuable that will become to offset the losses we have other places. And so I like what you've done. I'm not a financial advisor, folks. This is not financial advice. But in my opinion, just based on this one set of comments, Dan has hedged his bets. He's got a retirement, right? And that does things. But if we get a stock market bust, poof, his precious metals go up. So there's always, they tend to go up together, right? Gold and silver have outperformed the S&P 500 for the last 20 years. Everything rises together. But if something were to happen to the stock market, precious metal goes up. And then things recover and they just kind of take off again. So in any event, you've done a great job, Dan. One of the things that I always had trouble with, especially when I was in a position of authority in a company. Right now, I'm just, well, I guess I have authority. But when I had a lot more position of authority over other people, is I did not want there ever to be the appearance of impropriety. Right. And when that happened, it's like, I got to quit. Done. Right. There's something's not right here. And that's what they do. They put us in a position where, right, where now we're accepting part of the blame for this. And trust me, they're going to fucking do that to America. If everyone were to say, you know what, Trump, you're right, dude, fuck it. It's just some kids. In 10 years, maybe they start kidnapping schoolgirls right out of school. And they're like, well, hell, 10 years ago with Trump, you were fine with it being no-name girls. Now we're just going and taking girls that you know. Maybe it'll be like Ireland. They go to a school and they draw a lottery and say, okay, this girl and that girl, you're out. You lost the lottery. Well, it's okay. Man, I don't want to lose my 401k, right? They'll play that fucking game with your head. It's tough. It's a fucking tough game, and that's the game they're playing. Right? They will fuck with you and screw with you psychologically to the point where they control the decision-making process of people. That's why being fully informed and fully prepared puts us all in a position, in my opinion, where it's harder to fuck with us and to control us. Right? We don't have to bite at that hook or that carrot that they're holding in front of us. We can say, you know what? I'm okay. I don't need you. In any event, it is one hell of a world that we're in right now. It is scary. It is mind-bending. Man says, looks like foreign silver markets opened with spot around 38.41 and is currently sitting around 38.47. Futures look like they opened around 39.04, currently at 38.96. What he's talking about is the currency. Last week, the dollar started losing big time against gold and silver, especially silver. What's going on with Trump and Epstein is not the reason that the prices of gold and silver are going up. But it is having a corrosive effect, right? If trust is gone, people are going to abandon the dollar and move to other assets, reserve assets, assets that don't have third-party liability. Doesn't matter what Trump says, this is 1 ounce. Doesn't matter what Netanyahu says, that's an ounce. Doesn't matter what Putin or Xi Jinping does, it's an ounce. Anyways, so people are investing heavily in silver and gold because they know big change is coming. All right, who's up next? As we roll on through this Sunday Night Live, and Boomer's back with another $20 super chat donation. And he says, one can only imagine the fate of the West if the Trump movement weakens to a point whereas 2028 goes blue again. Surely the end of days. This is another thing that the Trump administration, the Trump apologists, and the Republican Party in general are saying, we're going to lose the midterm. We're going to lose the midterm, and then we're going to lose 2028 because the Republicans don't look like the party of law and order. They don't look like the party of law and order. And they're going to lose their voting base. Now, a lot of people say, look, I'm not going to go vote Democrat just because Trump is showing himself to have a low moral character. But I'm not going to vote, period. I'm not going to vote for Trump again. And I'm not going to vote for these Republicans in Congress. They're their own enemy, Boomer. American Republicans are fucking retards, morons, weaklings, and cowards. They won't do their job. Right? If you remember, Matt Gaetz stood up in front of Congress and called out whatever the issue was for the day and got booed. He was booed by his own party and the Democrats for sticking up for law and order, truth and justice, America. If, and I dare say when, the Democrats, that's what he meant by going blue, get power, control Congress and the presidency, you and I are going to face a maelstrom, a hellish retinue of fucking bureaucrats, law enforcement, legislators, illegals are going to come down on all of us like you can't believe. The only, and I dare say, bright spot in all of this, Boomer, is American people own about 95% of the guns in America. The military owns the other 5%, the military and police. The American people are heavily armed with a lot of cold blue steel, copper, brass, and lead. Right? The American people have a lot of ammunition. It always cracks me up when they catch some guy on the news, some wacko dude, and he had a rifle and 2 scopes and 1,000 rounds of ammo, and they'll call that an arsenal. That's an arsenal? You can't fight a war with 1,000 rounds of ammunition, but you can protect your house and your neighbors and your family. But that's not an arsenal. But they'll portray it as one. But collectively, the American people have an arsenal. So the end of days would be a full-on nasty civil war and partisan war and religious holy war. Those days could come regardless of whoever president is. Trump could straighten up. He could say, that's it. Let's release the fucking Epstein list. Let's clean house. You guys want to play? You bet. Let's get it done. We're going to face the consequences. We could have a hiccup for a couple of months, maybe a year with the stock market until everything is leveled out. We're going to fix this. Don't forget that the Israelis have their Samson program, which means nuke the United States and Europe and the rest of the world if they get pissed off and they get compromised. We've got terror cells in America that can be activated. We've got domestic terror cells, Antifa, BLM. We have Palestinians and Hamas and Hezbollah in this country in groups. We've got a lot of stuff that can go awful wrong, awful quick. End of days, apocalypse, right? Mad Max, crazy stuff. All right, we're doing great. We got one hell of a show, folks. I want to thank you guys for showing up. We have a lot of trouble. Now, thank you, Boomer, again. Listen, these terrorists are here. They're already acting out violently. We discussed the cop that got shot at the church. How about this story? Have you heard the one, Sunny Hostin of The View? In my opinion, she's a terrorist supporter. And she says that Immigration and Customs Enforcement deserves their agents being attacked by violent left-wing lunatics. They deserve it. She called it a reckoning. It's unbelievable that someone in the media can say attacking and killing and injuring federal agents who are upholding the law is something they deserve. She should be fucking fired instantly. No chance for an apology. You're just fucking fired. What do they actually think of the military, folks? You see, the left doesn't know if the military is always about the Constitution or if they're people in charge, they can use the military to attack us and destroy America. I think that's why they do it. But they don't attack the military, right? They're like, oh, yeah, we love our vets, even though they do nothing for them. We love the military, even though they hate the military. They don't even say they love ICE or Border Patrol. No, they don't say they believe in Immigration and Customs Enforcement or the Department of Homeland Security. They don't know. They don't like any of it. Right? There's going to be a reckoning, Sonny Hostin of The View, and I'm going to do my part. You ignorant, dumb bitch. Right? By the way, I want to know if Sonny Hostin lives near or around Polk County, Florida, by any chance. Someone let me know. That way I know to be sure to steer clear of her place. All right. And folks, the media is continuing to do this, to call out and call for the destruction of this country. Right? People are trying to be good. People work hard. People pay their taxes. They just want a good life. They want to be free. They want to be left alone. They want to retire. Right? They want to have enough money to live into their retirement and then leave something to their kids. Right? Everyone is trying to live a decent life, and then this shit happens. This shit happens. Right? We've got other countries blackmailing our politicians. We've got pedophile networks running free. Well, they threaten us, threaten our lives, threaten our jobs, everything. Right. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what's going on here. Sunny Hostin should be fired. Period. Or she should be forced to have these illegals live in her house with her. That'd be a good one too, wouldn't it? All right, Mr. Uman, let's have some fun. Who's out there in the Prepared Mind world? It's Big Dan the Man with a $10 super chat. And he says the Democrats, the demo rats, are done. And the Republicans are stagnant. Where it goes from here is anyone's guess. Yeah, that's really true. I mean, the Republicans were poised, were they not, Dan? The Republican Party was poised. The Democrats showed us they love terrorists. They love hurting children. Right? The Democrats love abortions. They love communism. They love socialism. They hate America. They hate our Constitution. Right? They've told us that they're lost. The Republicans could have come up and just taken the moral high ground and said, these are the things we support. We're going to fix voting. We're going to fix the tax system. We're going to close down these bureaucracies. We're going to save money. We're going to cut spending. They could have done all of these things. We're going to guarantee Social Security is safe because we're not going to put that money in a general fund and spend it, right? We're going to do all of these things to fix the country. And they didn't. So to your point, Dan, it is a very sad situation we're in right now. Our country went broke years ago. So you ask the very poignant question. So what's propping it up? Take a bill, whether it's a 1, a 5, a 10, a 20, 100, doesn't matter. If you can find a coin that says, in God we trust. Faith that the US dollar has value is what gives the US dollar value. You and I, us, the taxpayers, us, the hard workers, we are the thing that is propping up the United States of America. And to the extent of the political power that exists, the government, we're propping it up by saying, we approve of what you're doing, until they start doing things that we don't approve of. So the Republican Party, because it's not doing what we elected them to do, including Trump now, they are stagnant. It is a horrifyingly bad situation. So what's propping up the country? A belief that the future will be good? Kind of hard to sell that one. Well, the money's good. In God we trust. Well, the value, purchasing power, the dollar erodes because of inflation. Right? We're going to go into, the Federal Reserve is bound to at some point say we're in a recession and admit it and stop lying to us, because all of the recession indicators are there. They keep lying about the CPI and the PPI, the inflation indexes. They're propping up the country by printing money. They're going to prop up the country by reducing the interest rates. They're going to prop up the country, if they can, by getting us into a war that we should support. How do you do that? The country's attacked, false flag attack, whoever did it. You're the bad guys. Let's all gather around and be American and go kick someone's ass. We'll all feel better about that. Right? What's propping it up? Actually, our belief that our military is awesome, right? We're the big guys on the block. We're the superpower. Woohoo! That helps prop up, right? That makes people feel good about their country. So there's lots of little things all over the place that people point to and go, well, America's still after all the bad things you say, it's still the prettiest horse in the glue factory, right? It's still the prettiest pig in the pig pen, even though it's covered in shit and mud. And that's what's propping us up. That's it. Faith, a belief that America is still the best and that it'll fix itself, right? Like a ship that's getting tossed about in the sea, right? When the storm is over, the ship will right itself and sail in a clear direction. Right now, we're being tossed about. We've got no captain at the helm, right? The compass is spinning. No one has any, the moral compass is all over the fucking place. We need to groom kids and cut their nuts off. We need to rape them. Oh, no, we need to be good to kids, except for the ones that Epstein has. What the fuck is going on? Here we are. Right. Here we are. Did you know that the FBI has declined to comment on James O'Keefe's work? What work was that? The FBI leak that an agent claims law enforcement within the FBI has turned a blind eye or missed things in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Right? That James O'Keefe got that. That's his scoop this week. That the FBI turned a blind eye on Epstein. That they missed things on Epstein. And the FBI, they're not going to comment. No comment. No comment. I don't think they should have the right to remain silent. I don't. I think government agencies and the government agents, I really think that they'll stop lying if it's illegal for them to lie and they get fired or get jail time for it because we're sick of their bullshit. Oh, we're not going to answer on that one. No, you don't have a choice. You work for us. Answer the fucking question, right? James O'Keefe has a whistleblower, or rather someone who made statements about the competency of the FBI. And they're just going to say no comment and blow it off. That's exactly what the Democrats do. It's exactly what the Republicans do. They just not going to answer the question, right? I'm not going to incriminate myself. Well, you're a public servant. They should have to answer the question, in my opinion. It's crazy business, folks. It is a wild, crazy situation we're in. Woo! I tell you. Where do we go? Where do we go now? You know, the American Party by Elon Musk, no thank you. The Prepared Mind Party, that was a joke, even though you would think that all you have to do is follow the Constitution. That's it. It would be so easy. You'll follow the Constitution. Folks, this has been a great Sunday Night Live. We got that super chat button right up there. If you got a question, a comment, we'll put it down here on the screen. We'll make you famous, or you can stay anonymous. But your thoughts, your questions, your subjects, we have covered an incredible gamut tonight of thoughts pertaining to what the hell is going on in this huge shit it's the fan environment. And the shit has hit the fan, right? It has. So the question is, right, have you asked your question? Is there something that we didn't get? We've covered, I think, just about every aspect of this, from Cash and Dan to Pam to Trump to people on the street to social media experts to the fucking military to our enemies out there pretending to be allies. Anyways, man, who do we want to put on next? We got a great show, great attendance. We got Redneck Roughneck. And he says the Republicans just can't keep it together. All this infighting is going to cost them in the midterms. It's like the demon rats just hit the lotto. Oh, what's incredible? The Democrats, they're not saying a fucking word because you know they're part of the problem. You know they're into this Epstein thing probably more than even the Republicans, right? And I have no faith in any of them. You know why? Because I'm not hearing Republicans stand up and screaming, release the list. I think the only one who's doing that is Marge Taylor Greene. That's it. The rest of them are like, I'm not saying shit. I'm going to keep my head low and hope that I don't get caught. That's what they're thinking. That's how they're acting, right? The Democrats are like, holy shit, man, look at this. The Republicans are imploding. They're tearing themselves apart. Trump is making himself look like an ass. Yeah, you bet. I mean, normally it's Trump derangement syndrome, Trump derangement syndrome, up one side and down the other. But hey, not now. Now the Democrats are just like, we'll let him say whatever the fuck he wants. They're damaging themselves more than we could. That's true. Everything the Democrats have done has backfired on them. But when someone is doing something stupid politically, you get out of their way. You don't interrupt them. You let them keep fucking up. Literally. You let them keep fucking up. Fuck themselves up. And the Democrats wisely are doing that. Right? Just like with Trump going, well, we're going to do an amnesty for farm workers. Oh, we need farm workers like the one that raped and killed a girl. Now we have it again. Another farm worker. No, is this a farm worker? No, this is the Long Island fatal stabbing by a 15-year-old illegal alien. Murdered someone. Nah, no problem. Farm workers, no problem. Hotel workers, great. This is what is going on. So the Democrats, wisely, redneck roughneck, are just getting out of the way and letting him fuck up. Right? We didn't vote for amnesty for restaurant workers and farm workers. No. And people, I think, businesses that have intentionally gone out and hired illegals. They should be fined at the least, if not arrested, if it's criminal. And I think it's criminal. I remember back in the 90s and the early 2000s, politicians were getting in trouble because it was illegal to hire people who are illegals, don't have a social security number. And they were having them clean their houses, domestic workers, basically slaves, right? Low-cost workers. This is how these people operate, folks, right? Martha Stewart goes to prison for insider trading, right? She knew what the stock was going to do. She knew what was going on, so she traded accordingly, and she goes to prison for it. Nancy Pelosi writes laws, votes on laws, knows what is going to be allowed and what is going to be denied, and she invests accordingly, and guess what? Nancy Pelosi is insider trading, hasn't gone to jail. These people are hiring illegals. Shouldn't they be going to jail? Right? The companies that I do business with have to prove that they're legal, that they're licensed, and that they're insured, and that everything is above board. They got social security numbers. Why wouldn't you do that? Because they're trying to screw people over, right? The Democrats are watching the Republicans scream and yell. Republican farmers, Republican hotel workers, Republican restaurant workers. It's unbelievable. It truly is. Folks, this week is going to be wild. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We've got a lot. I want to thank you all for coming and showing up, sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your concerns, your questions. America's not done. We have not lost, but we just got shown who is really in charge. It's the pedophiles. This nation is being run and controlled by pedophiles, and they control the president. What a fucking disgusting shock. Is it not? To me, it is. I'll see all you guys 0 Dark 30 tomorrow if you join. If not, I'll see you in the afternoon on the preparedmind.club, subscribestar.com, and of course, all over X. I'll see you then.